Hey guys, today is the day, finally. The last video I finished painting the engine, and today it's installation time. So I just put those paper towels over the valve covers because I just painted them all up and I didn't want to get them scratched up with the wire loom and the chains and stuff from the engine hoist. So I just decided to put some paper towel over top of the valve covers just to keep them from getting scuffed up too bad. They still did get scuffed up a little bit, but not too bad though. Anyway, and you can't tell in this video, but I actually had to take the front tires off of the truck and let it right down pretty near as low as it would go. I just set it on jack stands down low, and I did that just, it was easier to get the old engine out and get the new engine in, because the engine hoist wouldn't quite lift the engine and transmission high enough to get over the rad support. So I just decided, I'll pop the tires off. I was going to let the air out of the tires, but then I thought, no, it's just easier just to pop the tires off and let it right down. So that's what I did, and it worked out really good. And I also decided to put all the wiring harness on and plug all the transmission stuff in out of the truck, as opposed to trying to fish it down underneath there after. It was a lot easier to put the wiring on first and then just install it with the wiring harness on there. So yeah, that's what I did. But yeah, it went in pretty good. It took some time because I had to readjust the chains there a couple of times to get it to go in right, and it was fun to get the mounts lined up, the motor mounts, but I did do it. And I actually almost forgot to put in the new transmission dipstick tube too. The other dipstick tube off of this motor, when I was pulling it out, I actually bent it. It hooked in the heater hoses, and I wasn't paying attention, wasn't watching everything, I guess, and the dipstick tube was caught in the heater hoses, and it just bent it right back. And I was going to try and fix it, and then I thought, no, that's not something you fix, because it measures the amount of fluid in your transmission, so it's got to be pretty accurate. And I thought, if I go cutting that and trying to fix it or splice it or whatever, it could possibly throw off the level of the transmission fluid, and I'd either end up with not enough tranny fluid in it or too much tranny fluid in it, and it could end up wrecking the transmission. So I just decided, I think the new one was like around $50, maybe $56 on Rock Auto, so I just ordered a new one. And I had to order a new dipstick tube too, because the old one that was in this engine was seized right in there, really, really bad, and I ended up breaking it to get it out. It took a lot to get it out. So anyway, I bought a new dipstick tube too, and again, I don't think it was very much, like maybe $30 or something like that. So, and I got that on Rock Auto also, so it, yeah, it just better to do it that way instead of trying to fix those things, because your oil level and your transmission level is very important. You got to have it right. So that's why I decided to just get new ones. Just something I want to tell you. Just be careful when you're putting it in of your transmission lines there. Yeah, you don't want to pinch your transmission lines against something there, because obviously that would be bad. Transmission lines are there to cool your transmission, keep it cool. So you just got to be careful when you're setting that in there, that you don't set or jam the transmission lines against something and crimp them, because it wouldn't be good. Your transmission may overheat. And what else did I do? Everything went in pretty good. I think it's hard to tell there, but I think I installed the AC pump is already on the engine, and it fit fine, no problems, no issues. I'm hoping to get the AC hooked up in this truck and get it working. It would be nice to have AC in it, and I wanted to make sure it all fit. That's why I installed it on the engine now. As I was putting the engine in, I wanted to make sure everything fit in there properly, that there was no clearance issues, and there wasn't. It all went in fine. So but yeah, it went in pretty good. At one point here, I had to take those chains off the back and move them up on the side of the head, because I just couldn't get the engine quite back far enough. And then I almost forgot to put the transmission dipstick tube in, the new one I bought. So I ended up, I pulled there's a little seal down there. I pulled the old seal out of the transmission. I realized that's it there. I realized that I hadn't put it in yet, so I was like, oh geez, I gotta install that. So I went and I grabbed the new seal and I stuck that in where it's supposed to go. It just sits down in the hole where your transmission dipstick tube goes into. It just pushes in there, and then the new tube just slides in around that seal, and then there's a nut and a bolt there on the back. Actually, I guess it's just a nut that comes out of that stud that the transmission bolts the engine to, and you just loosen that nut off and the dipstick tube just slides down in. You tighten the nut up and it just sits there. But yeah, I almost forgot to put that in. That would have been fun, trying to install it after the engine transmission was in the truck. It would have been a lot more difficult to do. So another thing, you can see the back of the engine going up and down a little bit there. I actually put a jack at the back of the transmission underneath the truck. Don't be scared to do that. You'll probably have to do that when you're installing your engine and transmission. Just be careful where you put it. I wouldn't put it up against the transmission pan because it could do damage to your transmission. But anyway, it just helps to get the transmission and engine aligned so you can get it down into the mounts. The other thing too, I thought I moved those back chains up on the head, but I guess I didn't. I think at some point here I ended up just taking them right off, and I used the jack at the back and the chains at the front of the engine to get it in, because I couldn't get the engine hoist to go in the bay far enough to get the engine and transmission pushed back where it had to be to get down into the mounts. So in a few minutes here, I'm just going to pop those back chains right off. Yeah, there, I'm taking the chains off there now. So, and I think I just end up using the front ones. Between the front ones, I was able to lift and lower the front of the engine, and then with the jack at the back I was able to lift and lower the back, and it just slid right in. That made it a lot easier. But sometimes these engines can be finicky to get in. It takes some doing. Sometimes they go right in right select too, so. But this one took a little while to get in there. It was a little bit of doing. Yeah, I'm just taking that out now, and I'm just going to hook the chain up on the front. It's just a lot easier. The other thing too is be careful of your wires and stuff. I actually had a plug down in the back of the main plug, actually, on the harness. It was down on top of the transmission. I didn't realize it till I got it. I heard something in there clunking against the firewall, and I was like, what's that? So I reached down in behind here in a minute, and I pull all the wires up on top of the engine, because I didn't even know that plug was down in there. It's the main plug that goes on the back of the fuse block, and I just totally missed that. You certainly don't want to crush your main plug going to your fuse block. That would not be good. Yeah, there, I just pulled it out there now, so you can see it up on top of all the wires up on top of the engine. And there you go, it just went down into place. It's actually down in where the mounts are now. So now the big challenge was just getting the bolts installed into the mounts to hold everything together. But I did get it. It took a little bit of finessing back and forth, but I did get them in. Yeah, there's a shot there of the mount. But yeah, it went in pretty good, so. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Everybody stay safe out there. Please subscribe and like my videos. I hope you're enjoying these builds I'm doing. and I'll have another video out here very shortly. Actually, the next video I think I'm going to do is installing the power steering pump and AC, or the power steering pump bracket. That's what I'm going to be installing next in the next video. Just show you guys how that all hooks up. Anyway, thanks for watching.